Hello everyone. In this video, we'll create an entity related to attachment. So for that, I will take a scenario. So I will go to my this, and I will go to employees. So if you click here, and when you click on this attachment, so you can simply attach any image here. So let's say when I attach an image. So what I've done, I've simply searched, download sample images, and I've downloaded one image, this image. This is available here. So what I will do, I will attach this particular image. So we'll consider like this the image of this particular person, like it's just a context or data. So we'll add that. So now here, if you will see, you will get the preview here. Now let us understand a scenario where you need to export all the data and you also need the corresponding images attached for all these users. So in that case, you'll typically use an entity. So in our system, we'll check and we'll see whether the entity is available out of the box. If in case, we'll simply create an entity for attachment. So let me go back to here. So what I will do, I will start creating entity. So if you see here, currently the data source is HCM worker, and this is the main field here. And if you will click here, so this is coming from this HCM worker table, and the personal number is the important field. So what I will do, I will start create entity. Now I will simply add here. I'll go to new items. So we can follow the similar concept. So I'll go to my data entity and I will say employees export, something like employee export attachment entity. Let me give the name correctly. Attachment ent entity. Okay, so I'll click on add. Okay, now here you need to add a data source. So we'll add. So for now, what I will do, I will simply add this particular data source, DocumentAttachment, and export attachment. Okay, so let me add here employee, and we'll do same here, and we'll click on next. Okay, DocumentAttachment can't be used because it have rec ID. So what I will do, I will use any random, let's say, let me use this one. Okay, this also doesn't have natural key, so let me give it as let me take it as cus group. I will take a smaller table. Next, click on next. Yes, so then I will go here and I will unselect all these fields. So you might be wondering, why I'm choosing this particular cus group data source. So the reason for that is we'll actually change this cus group. Let me select this first. Next. So the reason is that why I'm choosing cus group here, because I need to use another data source named as DocumentAttachment entity that was not visible there. So what I will do, I'll go to properties, and here instead of cus group, I'm going to use something called DOCU docu ref entity. So I'll use this entity and let me save this. Okay. Now once I save this, I need to see, you see here the form reference is of cursor group, so I need to remove that. Let me see, let me change the label as well. So the label would be export employee, something like this, because ultimately we are interested in to create a attachment entity. And here this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. So the next thing that I will check here is field. So I need to remove this field. I will check any key. Yeah, if you see the key is also wrong, so I'm going to delete that as well. Added relation, no relation. Okay, all right. So now what I will do, I will add these fields. So let me pick this field, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this as well, this as well, this as well. And okay, let me copy, all this field to here inside my field. Okay, and now what I will do, I will, let me close this. Okay, it got freezed. Okay, now it's fine. So now I need to add an entity key. So I will add the entity keys as document ID because it is going to provide us uniqueness. So this is the base entity that you will typically use. So most of the entities in out of the box system are created using this one, but here if you see we haven't added our next data source. So this is our parent data source. Now we need to add our child data source, that is nothing but HCM worker table. So here we'll add our HCM worker table. So for that I will simply say, so let me select here HCM worker, yeah, this one. All right, so let me keep this one as, and dynamic, it's fine. Okay, let me keep this as read only. So now from my HCM worker, I'm going to drag this personal number field. I will copy this. And second, let me see here, personal number or person. Okay, let me copy both this field, like personal number and person here. We'll copy it here. All right, now I have to relate these two tables. So I will create a relation here. So I'll right click here and I'm going to create a relation. You have to remember that if you are creating entities related to document, so there are 3 fields by which you can create a relation. So this is a generic rule. So if you use your docu ref entity, so there will be 3 fields that will be coming from this table. That is nothing, the referential table ID. Then you have referential table rec ID, and then you have something called referential company ID. So we'll see all of them. So I will say new relation and I will say new relation. Okay, and here I need to join my HCM worker with my docuref. I will again join HCM worker with my docuref with my HCM worker. So I will select this. Now first of all I will give the field as referential table ID. So you need to remember from docuref you need to use all referential field, okay, not the direct field. So just simply click on this. One second guys, let me save this first. Okay, let me first of all select it from here. So here we'll see our table ID. And let me go now here. So it's taking some time. And I'm waiting here. Okay, let me start typing then. So I will say ref table ID. Ref table ID, and that is fine. So now I will go to this next one. Let me again see if I'm able to get it now. Okay, Let me start from here. So here I will see I'm going to relate that data, or I'm going to relate my rec ID with my referential company ID. Yeah. So now I have to check one thing. If you see here, HCM worker, let me go to HCM worker table. And let me see that. Okay, so this HCM worker table, if you see here the save data per company is no, it means the data across the legal entities is same for this particular table, so we don't need this one. So I can remove this one. I can say delete. All right, so let me save this. Yep. So our entity is somewhat ready. So what I will do, so this step is optional if your entity is exporting your attachment already, so then you no need to do this, but just for sake, I will use one method here named as post load. Inside this post load method, so I need to write this code here. So I will say if this means nothing, my this particular entity, like the buffer of this my employee export attachment entity, I will say here if this dot rec ID, I will say here and then I will say this dot document ID is not equals to empty. So since this is a good value, right, the document ID, so I will use this function, and then here I will write. So first of all, now I will define my docuref entity. I'll say docuref entity. I'll say select first only, because there may be multiple, but we will get the first one. Docuref entity. We'll say where docuref entity dot document ID equals to I will say this dot document ID, and then I will say this dot file content. So let me do one thing here. Let me remove this, save this. So there is a field called file contents already. So I'll say this dot file contents equals to I can copy it from my docuref entity dot file contents, and then I could say this dot field externally set. Here I need to pass my field num. So I will say my field num, and I have to provide my field name. So I will say here employee export attachment entity. What is my field name? My field name is file contents only. Let me auto hide this. And here if you see this file cont and contents, and I will make this as false. Alright, so we are done with this as well. So if in case it will not work, so we are manually copying. Now at the end we need to create a staging table as well. So first of all, what I will do, I will say, so first of all I will regenerate my staging table. Okay, I will click on this regenerate staging table, so it will create my staging table from scratch. And to make sure my relation is proper here, yeah, that is nice. Okay, so now we need to do one more modification here. All right, I think we also don't need this because you see here, this is a container field. We need one more field with the same name. We simply need to add file name. So if in case, see inside this particular field, you will have your actual image. So you need to create one more field with same name. You simply need to add a file name at the end, and the data type should be string. So this is already taken care when we regenerated the string. Sorry, the staging table. So I will do a build and we'll see. But before build, let me do one thing. So let me click OK here and let me cross check the images available here. Okay, image is here. So what I will do, I will trigger a build and then we'll see how if this works or not. Okay, so we are getting this error. So let me quickly fix them. Alright, so here if you go to staging table and you see you click here, and when you go to this title field, so these are mapped to cus group because initially we take the cus group as data source, so we need to remove that. And the second error here is, oh, I think it is gone. So let me delete even this relation as well. We'll do a build now. Oh, all right. Oh, I see here. Okay. So here we have mapped referential company ID. So here we have rec ID. So I need to select here referential table ID. So we'll go here and we'll add referential table ID. So I need to select referential table ID. So again, this field is not editable. So let me type it manually. So I will say referential rec ID. And I will again create relation here. So if this table would be a normal table, like where it doesn't depend upon the company data, so it would have been easy. But okay, we'll choose here docuref. Inside my related field, let me select this one as table ID, and here I will choose the field as referential table ID. Referential table ID. Here we go. So my build is completed. So the only thing that I did is here I removed the referential table ID and rec ID field from my entity fields because it was doing a self-reference. So let me, the build is completed, and now we'll go to our data management here. So let me go to data management, and I will create a export here. I will say export employee image. Let so my entity name is something called employee export, something like this. So let me verify it here. So let me click here. So if you see, my entity name is export employees. So I'll go back to front end again. I'll say export employees. I'll choose as data format as XML attribute. I'm going to add it. If in case your entity is not available, make sure to do a build, sync, and entity refresh. So let me click here, yes. So this will export, those personal ID where the images will be attached. So if I will download this package, say open this. So when you will open this, open this one. So here you can get all the information. So we'll go to resource, export employees, and copy this. I'll go here and let me go here. And I will try to rename this one. Let me rename. Let me put .jpg as extension. And let me open this. So you see this image that we have earlier attached for that employee, so that get exported. And further, if you will open this, and here when you will open this one, so this is going to export your personal numbers, this 4 zeros to 3. So if you will go to your employees here, you see for this particular employee only we have attached the image, so that's why it only exported that particular image. So I hope that is clear to you. If in case we would have attached one image for this particular employee, so that would also have get exported. So this is helpful if in case you want to either do export or import. So let me reiterate what we have done. Now to create our document entity, first of all we added any random field because this docuref entity was not available while creating the data entity. So then I changed my data source. Then I had to make sure that my labels and these different fields like my staging table is correctly mapped. I had to make sure that my document ID is my entity key, and further I have copied my fields from here to here, and initially I have copied this referential table ID and rec ID as well, but it was giving error because the table further that I was using HCM worker, so that also have the same field, so that there was a conflict issue. So once I removed that, then it started working. Now this is our base entity for all the attachment types. Now this entity itself is not sufficient because this is a generic entity. We need to know actually which table we need to target. So that's why we have added our data source as HCM worker. Here we simply selected our table. Then we copied the personal number and this person field, these two fields from here to here, so that we can see the data. And we need to add the relation. So for every data entity, when you are going to use this docuref, so you need to have referential table ID, rec ID, and you even will use the company ID. Since our HCM worker, and here if you see the property, so the saved data per company is no. It means this data will be same across the legal entity. So that's why we ignored that particular field and we only go with this referential rec ID and table ID. But let's say if instead of this it would be have a purchase order, sales order, or customer, then you would have added the the referential company ID and the data area ID field as well. So once we are done, then you go to your staging table and just verify all the fields. And you see, like when we did a build, so initially we haven't checked this, so we also get the error because the title field was mapped to our curse group data source. So we removed that, and even you could add your field like whatever you want. And the only thing that you need to make sure that this file content, okay, this is a container type field and the extended data type is bitmap. So you need to have the exact name like file contents, then you need to simply put file name, and to make sure you select this as string type. Okay, once you are done, everything is ready. And now this particular code, this is only required. So what you could do, you could remove this code and you can try.